Before the video actually begins, I'd like to formally apologize for any disappointment during my last video. I have I haven't really had the time to record a proper video since, and really not even now, which is why you'll see these two build crafting videos take place in the same onslaught. I really do hope that you guys continue to watch and enjoy my content, and be as understanding as possible. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, for our first build today, we're going to be using a Falcons build. Um, This is all recorded in post, so I don't know if I go over the weapons, but it is, of course, Rat King and a Wayframe grenade launcher with Adrenaline Junkie, along with Edge Transit with Bait and Switch and Auto-Loading Holster. We're going... Here are the mods. I really would just spec into Resilience and Discipline for this one, because you don't really need too much of anything else. Maybe a little bit of intellect if you really want to be building into your Night Stalker super anymore. But aside from that, we're going to be using like the obvious ones, just to kind of really focus on getting Devourers, just keeping our survivability up while staying invisible, and keeping that chain of invisibility and buffs and debuffs up as well. This is a big one. You definitely want Echo of Undermining, which is why our discipline's slightly lower than what it should be, because throwing those nades for a weaken is going to actually build right back into your Falcons and get you right back invisible, while also giving you volatile rounds for your Wayframe grenade launcher, which would then also subsequently make you invisible after getting a kill with that, which would then also buff the grenade launcher with Adrenaline Junkie, either if you get a kill with the grenade itself or with the grenade launcher shortly afterwards. I also wasn't able to find a grenade launcher with repulsor brace, but repulsor brace would also work really well here, as just, of course, defeating that target with the debuff on him will give you that overshield and that much more survivability. Now, as you see here, I'm not going to be using Trapper's Ambush, just because I like Silos Executioner slightly more for the defeating weakened targets, because once again, that's more invis, and that actually does count for your Falcon's invis, which is going to be that much better for the actual build itself. It doesn't really matter what super you use, as long as it's not the knives that everyone forgets about, because that's for PvP and PvP only. So I prefer Mobius Quiver just for the extra range of effect that we can use here. I will say right now, it's not really a build meant for more tanky yellow bars. It's not a DPS build at any time, which you guys can see. You look away from the yellow bars at times, so I'm really just here to kind of just thin the herd while my teammates can focus on the yellow bar enemies. I've always thought of Titans as more like the heavy damage dealing class, and if I hear a single person say Warlock, you are wrong. There hasn't been a day since Forsaken where Warlocks have actually been able to do some damage. Chaos Reach is where we peaked, and Hunters are more for like boss DPS and utility in my eyes. I really do well, but that is just like a really quick thing. See here, we get Rat King. You do also get those volatile rounds, and you can just kind of get it back to back, which makes it such an easy pick for Falcons. One bit of advice I would say for Wayframes, be very careful where you place them, as placing it somewhere on like stairs can actually cause the wave to go backwards and injure you, or just go the complete opposite way. So definitely be cautious of that. And you also really want to put it about like rough estimate like 5 feet in front of the actual target, or you're not going to get that maximum damage, or you can kind of adjust that from there. Now, for our next build, which is our Blight Ranger build for the day, we're going to use Bad Juju, Indebted Kindness with Volt Shot, and Crux Termination with reconstruction bipod just for the extra rounds. I'd recommend harmonic siphons. This is really just for orbs and support on its own. Here's the general overview. Obviously, we have the collector just so we can get our super back that much faster, along with ability-based mods. And here's the weapons if you're curious. Now, what I'm really hoping to build into here is actually our ability uptime, as there's not much for Arc that actually directly supports your super, despite maybe a couple of orbs for defeating jolted targets, but the best way to jolt targets is through abilities. So we're gonna really aim to be spreading jolt as fast as possible, which is why we're using Indebted Kindness. But once we run out of ammo for that, if we do, you can always just switch over to Bad Juju, which will be getting a buff in Final Shape, which is just gonna make this build that much better. I don't know if any Blight Ranger builds that might get buffed through this, like from Blight Ranger being amped itself, but I highly doubt there is. It would be nice if there was, but I could definitely see the struggle behind that. My bad. Now we're going to be using Arc Bolt Grenades for the fastest uptime possible, with the Disorienting Blow or Combination Blow just for the blinding and jolting target. Now, along with that, we're going to be using Flow State just so we can defeat the jolted targets to make ourselves amplified, which would then allow us to make the orbs later. And then, while amplified after the dodge, we can also reap the rewards of the lethal current effect. And also jolting targets would then lead not only into flow state, but also our fragments as well. Of course, we are going to be using Arc Staff because that's the only thing that's really available here. No, my throat's been killing me lately. Yeah, here's just one last look at what we're going to be doing here. And really, that's about it. Both these builds are kind of simple, but effective in their own right. So I wouldn't be too surprised if not many of you guys are kind of wowed by it. But once again, they're just simple builds which can help you guys kind of pick up the build craft wherever you need to. Now, I've always been a firm believer of why should I run the Glowing Gun or the Well myself when I can double the amount of Glowing Guns on my own, or double the amount of Wells or the amount of Thunder Crashes, which is why we're using this build. If you keep an eye on your feed there, just watch how many orbs I make as this kind of all plays out, and I'll kind of explain what's really going on here. Light Rangers are just making orbs for us as we block block damage, and this can also reflect damage back with heightened power, which is not going to do too much damage on its own. But like I said, you're going to essentially double the amount of supers that your teammates can cast, which can lead to double the amount of Golden Guns. As you're going to see here in a second, my Warlock is going to run up and pop another Well, which he had already just used, which is also going to help us get our super back, which in turn is going to get their super back. So, while I don't know how other people on your team are going to see it as, it's a really helpful build. You're going to see Thunder Crash go off here in a second. Once again, do a lot of damage. That is also his second one in a short time. We're just going to wrap up this boss like it's nothing. And here is the results. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a nice day.